Welcome back to Friday Crypto. My name is Chase, level 1 CMT and full-time trader. Although right now I have a bit of a cold, so if I sound a little odd, that's why. So give me a break. All right, so we're gonna start off on the weekly here, looking at Chainlink. Look at the big picture because we're having a little bit of a downwards day, right? But let's pump the brakes on the panic, okay? We're just in a consolidation mode, right? We have a massive move up, a 200% from the bottom to top in less than 90 days, right? Let's check that again. Right? So 90 days, 84 days, over 200% rally out of Link. It can have a chill day, right? Like that's all we're doing. A big move up and consolidation. We haven't even broken below the EMA 8 yet, right? That's our first spot that we need to be noting. So $14, that's our first buy level if you want a DCA Chainlink, right? Nobody knows where the bottom or the top is. So a good spot is usually the weekly EMA 8 or the 14 or the 21. You can go back and look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, previous cycles. Those were good spots to do it. Usually the best spot for your max ROI is the 21 week, but it doesn't mean that we're going there this week for sure. And it could be, weeks or months before we tap that. But having open orders in on a weekly basis, updating the prices, right? Updating your orders at the weekly 21 often works out in your favor. Now, at the time of panic where everyone starts to, feel some fear for the first time in a long time, and I feel like maybe today might be that day for you, right? I don't know, but there's no reason to do that just yet. But I always like to look at kind of the worst case scenario to kind of put your mind at ease. So where do I think we could possibly see Chainlink again if, right, it's just red over red over red for days and weeks to come, right? I'm glad you asked. Let's look at the worst case scenario. So you could see our breakout resistance consolidation zone. Do I think we're going back down here? No, I'm not really convinced. That would be kind of the worst even for a wick. Right? And I'm not saying goes there this week or next week or even next month or maybe even next year, right? But at some point, right, maybe we wick down in here over the next several months, right? I don't think that that's the case. And the worst case scenario really is going to be for me, and let's back this up a little bit more, right, on the data. Let's look at this weekly chart with the Gaussian channel, and I do have some good news for you, right? If you haven't been paying attention, the weekly Gaussian channel is now green for the first time in years, seemingly decades. So from March of 2022 was the last time we were green. The last time we actually flipped from red to green on the Gaussian channel, you have to go all the way back to 2019, right? March of 2019 is when we went from red to green on the weekly Gaussian channel, okay? So good things are to come. It doesn't mean we're in up-only mode, and we've been saying this for weeks as well on Chainlink, right? It's don't panic if we have a little bit of a move down. It's just Bitcoin consolidating, which is going to drag the altcoins down with dominance. Bitcoin dominance being so high, altcoins are always going to have a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction, although not all coins, right, tend to follow the herd, right? Today, you'll have some anomalies jump out of the can every now and again, and right now, today, AMP, look at AMP, up 12%. In a sea of red, really. You can see some of the stronger coins, Injective, right? That's up 10%. So check those out, right? You want to be paying attention when there's, shining stars in the room, right? When everything is dark, okay? So that's worth noting. Now, Bitcoin down at 40K, there's no panic there, right? It's at the EMA 8 as well. So Chainlink is there as well. No panic just yet. Now, back to our worst case zone and get off the ADHD, right? So we're looking at probably somewhere in this zone for worst case, right? I'm not saying we're going down here. This is like worst case. You should probably have some bids in down here to maximize your ROI for the next couple of years bull run. So why this zone? Glad you asked. The top of the weekly Gaussian channel starts around $9. Then you also have this 200 week right here, right? This pink line. I know there's a lot of pink on this damn chart, but we're looking at this, right? So the 200 week moving up is always a great sign. Go back and look at history on any coin. When your 200 week is moving up, and it's been a while, right? It's been moving down for a good amount of time. That's usually a sign of your new bull market when as soon as you start to curl up there, right? And we've got that with Chainlink. So worst case scenario, I would see a close somewhere around this zone, a wick in this zone. Again, like we've said, maybe a wick a little bit lower, but I don't think that's the odds. I think the odds is somewhere in here, and somewhere between now and, you know, maybe Q1, maybe even going to Q2 of 2024, because you could see a case where, like, we start to kind of prolong cool off and, you know, crypto, right, where we kind of do one of these moves, right, and you could see it. There's a greater than 0% chance that, you know, come Q2 of 2024, we are still down here, right? That would throw a lot of the market off. Maybe Bitcoin goes back to low 30s towards the end of Q1, beginning of Q2. That would breed this kind of analysis. That would kind of back this thesis up, where we just have a cool off and we all get a better chance to buy, even though it won't seem like a better chance to buy, right? It'll be panic whenever we're down here. If we get down here again, right, all the Chainlink bears will be back out in full force, screaming for $2, right? We've heard them before. We've muzzled them and pretty much hunted them to extinction. But they'll be back, right? Especially if we start crashing a little bit more, right? And I've seen the word crash been thrown around today. So here's the crash. We're at the same price we were last week, and last week before that, and the last week before that, and the last week before that, and the last week before that. So nothing absolutely bearish at all about price action so far. So that's the facts, right? Look at the closing prices. I mean, what the hell? Don't lose your shit, right? Based on your emotions, right? Emotions on Twitter and Reddit and whatever the hell other social forum you're on that you shouldn't be, is just feeding your emotion, right? Looking at the charts, there's nothing to panic over, right? This is well welcomed, right? To maintain your healthy bullish structure, you need to have some cool offs. And I would even welcome a lower price down to the 21 week. If you're above the 21 week with closings, you're absolutely bullish healthy. And anything other than that, right, you're just likely feeding into your emotional bearish narrative and, you know, your panic modes, right? Textbook factual wise, if your price action is above your 21 week, you're bullish. So Chainlink can go all the way down to 1120 this week and still retain its absolute uptrend bullish momentum. Okay, so that's the facts, right? So don't panic too much just yet, right? Now, we'll pay attention to how Bitcoin closes today, closes tomorrow, closes the week. Obviously, you want to pay attention to altcoins, how they're reacting, which ones are kind of shrugging off all of this, which ones are not, which ones are bleeding the hardest, right? When we bounce, which ones are bouncing the hardest, right? Those are the ones you want to start to get a little bit more in those boats and a little bit less of the boats that maybe you're in, right? So we talk a lot more about that in our private Telegram group on Patreon. If you want, you know, more help navigating this market, that's where I would suggest going after this video, checking that out. And I do daily updates in there on Bitcoin. And so there's no surprises, right? This isn't a surprise to anyone in my Patreon group, right? We're talking about this for weeks. Okay. So Chainlink, absolutely par for the course. So far, so good. Let's zoom into the daily so we can see exactly how catastrophic this is, right? No big deal just yet, right? Last time we talked on Friday on our Chainlink video, we said you want to watch for multiple closes below the 21 EMA. We don't even have one yet. So we're 3 hours away from close as of writing, as of recording. Why the hell did I say writing? But we're potentially getting our first, right? But we've been there before. You want to wait for the warning sign and then a follow-up. If we come back up again tomorrow, then we still have to wait again, right? However, if we close 2 candles below the 21, your odds just increase of a prolonged cool-off or a new downtrend starting. So Gaussian channel on the daily, we're still well above it, right? The top of that band also matches the lower part of these Bollinger Bands. So by definition, I had a lot of questions on Bollinger Bands, how to use these, right? At the lower Bollinger Band, by definition, prices are low. At the high part of the Bollinger Band, by definition, prices are high. It doesn't mean you have to, go the opposite way as soon as you tap them. Of course not, right? You're strong, right? These are strong prices, but more often than not, most of your price action is going to be within these bands. So if you're outside of here for multiple days, right, more or less, sooner or later, you're going to come back in here, right? Come back out here multiple days. Sooner or less, you're going to come back in here, right? It's just you're kind of testing your luck, right? You've won twice at the roulette table in Vegas, right? It's sooner or later the house is gonna win, right? So that's the Bollinger Bands, right? The longer you're outside of them, the more likely the odds are shifting of a comeback moment inside the bands. Okay, so having said that, if we get down here, what do we notice? The lower Bollinger Band and the top of the Gaussian channel, which will act as support and resistance, depending on which way you hit it. In this case, would be support around 1350 on the daily chart. Seems like a decent spot. This would also keep these kind of swing lows in play, and just kind of still par for the course. Still no bearish signs here. If we close under this candle, then we could start to argue a little bit more bearish price action. So 1337. Until we close a daily candle under 1337, you should still be leaning bullish in your narrative. More than 50-50, right? Even if you're starting to get there now, right? Yes, we did lose this low so far, but we still haven't closed this candle, right? You want to wait for the close. You never want to judge candles before they close, right? You're not trying to anticipate anything. That's not what candles are about. Candles tell the story. You want to wait till the story's completed before you judge the story, right? So that's where we're at for Chainlink on the daily update, right? Beyond that, right? Who cares about the hour and 4 hour? It's just, it's much less meaningful. But look at this, right? Just a side note. I mean, look at that hold on that daily Gaussian channel right there. Couple touch points, hit it, and then bounce huge. So if we come back down, as of right now, 1350, 1330, right? This area, that's our target right now. Our spot for our low. Doesn't mean you can't go below it, but that's the logical spot, right? That's all TA is really meant for, is you're trying to pick out spots to buy more, sell more. That's really all it's, what else are you going to do with it, right? You're either buying or selling, or, right, feeding your emotional state where you think you should buy or sell, or, you're just along for the ride, and in which case, kudos to you. What else? What else we got? Quote of the day, card of the day. What else do you want to see? Do you like this? Do you like this more in-depth, kind of weekly and daily? Do you want to see shorter? Do you want to see the 5-minute charts? I don't know why, but that's where we're at. So I'm always helpful to hear your feedback. I want to cover what you want to see. But I know most of you are watching this for Chainlink. So what else in Chainlink? I'm all ears. Quote of the day: not knowing anything is the sweetest life. I love it, right? It's like ignorance is bliss, right? The people that panic the most and have the most stressful life are usually well-educated, and people that are in, a lot of stuff, right? They know all the shit that's going on in the world. Who's the most peaceful, right? The idiots. People that don't know anything about anything, right? Ignorance is bliss. That's what I got out of that one. All right, card of the day. Any guesses? Hopefully you got the Ferrari part. Testarossa. Good job. Ferrari Testarossa. I saw this in person. Pretty amazing. This is a little bit updated. It's like the second or third year they made these. Maybe more than that. The first one, the originals, these are different wheels. And the original had like these massive mirrors. Someone knows what I'm talking about. They're like huge, like twice this size. Ferrari Testarossa. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Chainlink, a little bit of a ramble, but not really feeling well. So this one's a little bit later today. All right, I'll kind of wrap it up there.